Good afternoon, this is Jeff at Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we're at property address 1852 Northeast Sunrise Lane here in Hillsboro. Located just to the right of the front doorway. Very first foundation bed you come to here, you have a 4-inch cast iron cleanout. We're going to check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Now we're going to introduce water to the line through the cleanout here in just a moment. On the note of the cleanout, when I got here, I'll see if I can cinch this thing back in. It's because you can see it's sitting at a pretty wonky angle. It's not even in. You can just lift it right out. Oh, okay. It does situate. It's just one to be careful with if it's ever loose, especially around all the river rock. You just don't want anything falling down inside that line, especially these big giant rocks like this. The tricky part is the hose bands are difficult to get to. You have to dig this thing out to get a screwdriver or a nut driver down into there to cinch the hose bands down. Alright, we're going to clear some cobwebs out of here really quick. This thing is Cobweb City, good heavens. I'm hoping here at some point something will scrape those cobwebs off my camera lens. I've had a couple spots with some standing water. It also feels like I am pushing a big old hunk of junk through the line. Cannot tell what is in front of the camera right now. Now I'm hitting a spot here. My camera, we might be coming to a stop here. Alright, I'm going to put one more big blast of water down the pipe. Try and get this thing to drain off. What I'm running up against here, though, it's got a little bit of a spongy feel to it. Like it's got a little bit of give. And my camera just wants to stop hard there. It feels like my camera's getting pinched between something almost. I'm going to put another gush of water down this thing just to help see if that'll clear anything out. Yeah, and now that water comes shooting back at the camera. So whatever we've got going on up ahead there is not... I'm going to pause the camera for just a moment to fill up my water jugs here and bucket really quick. We'll see how quickly that drains off, if at all. Alright, so about a minute just went by. Water level's not dropping. So whatever we've got going on here, I just don't know if we're going to be able to get a clear shot of what it is. And I can even hear, it sounds like a gurgle. Like, I mean, the line's obviously fully submerged. Yeah, I don't want to go shoving too hard into that. I'm pushing pretty darn hard. It may not look like it, but I'm very firmly pushing my camera against that, and it does not want to give. It could be an offset joint, a root intrusion. I'm going to go try and... So it looks like we're rounding a bend there, so it looks like we're heading over towards the driveway area, then turning to shoot out towards the road here. So I'm going to go see if I can locate where we are here. Alright, I did not, unfortunately, have any luck locating the camera head. As you can see, the water is still not drained off here. So I'm going to pull back out of all the standing water to see if that helps me get a better locate. This isn't obviously right where the issue is, but it's near it. Alright, still not having great luck here with a strong locate. I think, just based on the configuration the line is making here, it looks like we're shooting across the driveway. This is an indicative setup here when a line jaunts under a driveway from this access point and then turns to start heading out towards the street. I start to pick up some kind of signal when I near some of the utility boxes at the front left corner of the driveway. I'm also picking up a similar signal in line with those utility boxes at the front right corner of the yard on the other side of the property. So one of those utilities is putting off a lot of interference, it looks like. So I'm going to pull back here a little ways just to double check, to get away from that stuff, that we're going the direction I think we are. Alright, so we're heading the way I think we are here. So right around the front left corner of the driveway, that's as you face the front of this house from the street, is where the line makes its turn. I can't tell you exactly where that is, but it's heading in that very general direction. And I just noticed they're picking up a locate under the driveway. There's a patch of the driveway that runs at kind of a 45-degree angle, and the line is sitting right underneath that. The cast iron pipe here in general is rather scaly. That can be from two things. The era this cast iron was installed, it's a very notorious pipe material for wearing out. You know, relative to like 1910 cast iron, 1910 cast iron will outlive this stuff by a country mile. It's not even close. The stuff in this era just doesn't hold up super great. But this right here actually might be the culprit why the line's blocked up. If a bunch of those have been going down the line and it hit an offset joint or something, it doesn't even need to be an offset, those will clog your pipe up like crazy, especially in cast iron. But a lot of scale, and the flow line is kind of humped or flattened out, which is another indication there's scale there. Sometimes you have channeling that goes underneath that, the way the flow line looks. So, I mean, what that also looks like is a line that has struggled to drain for many, many years, which causes water to stand in the line, which will prematurely wear cast iron out. And then you've got a spot here. This could be a belly. It could also be a channel. The water is murky as it is. It's hard to tell, but the end result of all cast iron, if it exists for long enough, is eventually the flow line will rot out. Before you get to that point, you'll get a channel that gets carved into the metal. It's very obvious generally if the water's clear enough to see through it. And or what you get is a combination of things where a belly forms. Anytime you have a belly in cast iron from settling problems, things like that, that standing water will cause the line to prematurely wear out in those areas. And so sometimes it starts as a belly and then it turns into a belly and channeling. So what I'm going to do here, I'll do a quick locate. I'm not going to map the whole line out because right now the line needs drain cleaning. And my locator struggles once it gets over that area over there. This is one of those where someone else needs to do the locating on that. I have a sneaking suspicion that what is stopping the camera up is probably a structural issue. Probably exacerbated by wipes going down the line, but not being able to locate that area here. I'll at least get a spot where we are currently, where this belly dissipates off. But beyond that, what I'd recommend here is the line get drain cleaned and rescoped. It would make sense to probably have a repair company do it. I'm happy to come back out and do the rescope post-drain cleaning, but there's a good chance, all said and done, there's going to need to be some repairs here. This spot right here in general, outside the home, I haven't pulled back through it all the way yet, but this is a belly I'm likely to recommend repairs on. It's close proximity to the home, and it's in rougher cast iron pipe. The combination of the two is not a great one. All right, put a pink flag down here. We're in the front flower bed, and if you stand at this flag and look towards the driveway, you can follow that perfectly to where that patch is at in the driveway that runs at an angle. And I'm not entirely sure why they coincide with one another. That patch doesn't look as old as this line is, but the other thing that can occur, it's hard to guarantee with certainty, but one of the things that can happen with these older lines is that as they wear out and become exposed to the ground, sometimes they can cause hydro erosion. But that section of the line there wasn't settled, so it may just be coincidence. That spot right there is feeling more like a channel than a belly. Yeah, you can just barely catch. Yeah, my camera's dropping down into a trough there. Now, the way my camera it gets articulated in here, I apologize. My camera is almost right in the sidewall of the pipe. It's kind of odd. It doesn't want to drop into the flow line. All right, and I put a flag here too. This is a trickier spot to locate. It's right on the other side of what looks like a giant bonsai tree right next to me. It's hard to locate in there just because it grows so close to the ground. It's hard to get underneath it. But I'm picking the signal up just on the driveway side of that tree there. Anyhow, recommend some cleaning here to figure out what's going on at around 60 feet. That's also to hopefully allow a camera to get past that point and see what the rest of the line looks like. From where we stopped there, we probably got another 25 feet or more of pipe to go, would be my assumption. So where the pipe is channeled out here is approximately right on the other side of that tree where that flag is, and extends out to just, you can actually see the other flag just beyond it. And then the line travels off under the driveway. Right around that front left corner, we may actually pop out the other side of the driveway. It's about where the line's turning, and then shortly after that's where we hit the blockage in the line. So, and all said and done, I mean, if you start seeing enough problems throughout the line here, my 2 cents on these older lines, if you start getting issues at each end of them, fully updating makes far more sense than spot repairs. That's my 2 cents on it, but wait to see what the line looks like after it's cleaned. It'll be easier to make that decision. But at the very least right now, I recommend drain clean, but I'm also recommending at minimum a spot repair here where the pipe is channeling out front. There's a lot of buildup in there. It's just jet black with sludge. You can tell stuff is having a harder time getting through that spot there. And channel pipe will do that. You get a combination of, already rough cast iron, which is naturally the way it is, standing water slowing things down, and then a groove that's been carved into the flow line that can allow debris to get down into it and get stuck into it. So at minimum, that's the stuff I'd like to see done here. But if you start seeing issues throughout the line or each end of it, that's where I recommend fully updating. The cast iron pipe is already in rougher condition to begin with, so may very well be looking at that.